Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Hello, everyone. This is the Tonya Hofmann Fabulous TV show, and I'm so excited today to have Miss Karyn Beach with us. Yay! We're going to have so much fun. As always, we always have a blast because we have got the best people that have such huge hearts who want to open up and give you some real insights to help you in your business, in your life, your relationships, your career, whatever it may be. And so today we're talking a little bit about taking action, right? For me, it was the biggest thing that kept me from growing and becoming who I am today, because it was so much easier to sit and watch TV all day. And I was like, how can I go out and change lives if I'm just sitting and keeping myself in my house? Right? I've been self-employed since I was 25, and it was so much easier to just do the day, right? Just keep going and just move along. It's nothing to keep you from being scared, right? And hitting those fear points. But I could tell you that now I don't go through a day where I am bored. That just doesn't happen anymore. Because it's so much fun to get out there and try something new and get to meet so many amazing people. So get out of your comfort zone. Try something you've never tried before. I was so proud of this lady. Her name is Estella, and she put on a virtual event. It was her very first one. And yes, she was scared. She was nervous, but she did it anyways. I was so proud of her. So that's what it's about, is connecting with people and taking action. And Ms. Karyn is an expert at that, because she is a game show winner. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh, we have to ask her about that. Produced a screenwriter. She's a produced screenwriter, so she's actually produced something that was produced. And then an international traveler. Don't we love to go everywhere? Author. Everyone needs to write a book. Come on, people. You can write a book. And then radio show host. How fun is that? I'll have to come on your radio show sometime. And she's also
Definitely.
Right? She also started the Get It Together Girl. We'll have to ask her about that. So how are you, Karyn?
Great. How are you, Tonya?
Good. So tell us a little bit about what is Get It Together Girl.
I have a background in training and development, and after I won the money on the game show, I decided to get my certification. And in getting my coaching certification and beginning to work with clients, I realized it wasn't the big things that kept people from doing what they wanted to do, but a lot of little small things. And so I started a blog, but I wanted to take it a little bit further. So I published a workbook on organizing yourself today, getting organized and clearing clutter. And I called it Get It Together Girl, a 28-day guide to practical, not perfect, home organization. And that's pretty much how Get It Together Girl started. So now I have the workbooks, I have a blog, I have my Blog Talk radio show, and all of it is designed to help busy professional women get it together in whatever way they need to get it together.
Nice.
So that's what I do.
I'm telling you, everybody needs organization. You know, even the
Definitely.
OCD organizers a lot of times aren't very efficient in the way that they organize things, you know, so it's great to have insight on that. And I think that's let me know what you think too. Don't you think that the organization of even how you organize your desk, you know, eliminates time that you could be doing other things because you're constantly searching for things?
You know, when you're looking for things and the amount of time the average American spends every year, literally days, looking for lost items, it's time that you can't get back. And even if you're not looking for lost items, a lot of times people are stressed. If you wake up in the morning and you're going, and you don't have time, you're going to leave the house stressed. Then you get in traffic, and what do? You're more stressed. So now you get to work, and you're already a bundle of nerves. And so one of the things that I try to get across about being organized is that when you're organized, you have all of these other effects that you get as a result. You're less stressed, you're managing your time better, and all of these things come not from being perfectly organized, but having your own level of organization, the level that works for you.
Maybe I could get you to talk to my husband about putting his shoes in the closet, because I can always find my shoes, but how often does he search around for his? He's like, I don't know where my shoes are. I'm like, I know where all my shoes are.
See, for that, I have one of the things I mentioned in my second workbook on time management. I call it 10 at 9. And it doesn't have to be 9. But somewhere before you go to sleep, take 10 minutes and get ready for your next day. Take 10 minutes and put everything back where it belongs. Take 10 minutes and just get everything straight, and it will save you so much time later on that night, maybe in the morning.
Right. And I think, too, it has to kind of make sense to you. You know, I had an organizer come in one time, but she organized in a way that I was so confused at how she did it, and it never seemed logical in my head. So it made it even harder for me to utilize it, you know. And sometimes it's hard to get into other people's head, but.
And that's why I say it's practical, not perfect organization, because we can go into 5 different people's closets and see 5 different things. Right now, mine is kind of organized. I've got pants together. I've got shirts together, and that's fine for me. But some people need them short sleeve shirts, then long sleeve shirts, then, you know, formal clothes, then weekend clothes, and just, I can't do that because I can't maintain it.
Yeah.
But I can put the shirts back with the shirts, the pants back with the pants. And so it's all about what works for you. And I think that's the way success is overall. It's not about having this cookie cutter, it works for everyone solution, but it's about what really works for you.
I know I had a lady who was going to help me with my organizing, but I decided not to hire her because she could not get over that I wanted to file everybody by their first name. But that's the only way I know people. I know you as Karyn. Now I happen to know that you're Karyn Beach because I think that's the coolest last name ever. But there's a lot of people, I just know them by their first name, you know.
Right, and it's what works for you. You can't make someone else organized by first name if it's not what they want to do. But
Right.
You have to do what works for you. And once you do that and you have a system that works for you, then you can maintain it and you can reap the benefits of it. Because as long as you're doing what somebody else thinks you should do, it happens all the time in families, between friends. My best friend is a nightmare. She's a whirling dervish. She's had a box full of shoes in her main living room, and it's been there for like 4 years. You know, I don't understand. I moved into my house on Saturday of Labor Day weekend. I took that Tuesday off. By the time I went to work Wednesday, everything was up. My pictures, everything was put away. Boxes were gone. We're 2 totally different people, but that works for her.
Right.
I can't make her be like me because she's her. You know, and that's fine. And that's fine. She
so
never
funny.
wants me to come in her house because she's like, it doesn't look like yours. But I'm like, it doesn't have to.
I know. Well, and I had a friend that, I mean, you walked into her home and it looked like a model home. Like all of the magazines were all sprayed out just perfectly and the coasters were all ready for you. And I was just like, I didn't want to sit down because I didn't want to mess up her modelness.
Yeah,
and, you know.
exactly. But that works for her. But see, then the thing about being that, I don't know why this word is coming to me, that persnickety. That's the word that we're using today. That
word.
Persnickety is that, I'm sorry, my dog is
always
crazy. But the problem with that is that you can get to the point where you start confusing activity and busyness with productivity.
Yeah.
Because you're spending so much time straightening things up that you're not paying attention to the important things that need to be done. You're very busy. If someone were come in and look at you, they would think that you're getting a lot done. But really, you're being active. You're not being productive. And I think that's something everybody needs to be conscious of.
I think that happens a lot with social media. People are like, well, I'm working, I'm on social media, I'm talking to people, you know, and 3 hours goes by.
Right. And they say, oh, well, I'm marketing my business. I'm doing my social media marketing. And it's like, you're looking at cat videos, you know?
Exactly. We know you.
Exactly. It's like, that's not work. How does that work?
And you've got something called Focus 15 Task. So what is that?
The Focus 15 is, and I personally live by this, anybody can do just about anything for 15 minutes. And I literally I'm in my kitchen right now. I go and I set the timer for 15 minutes. And I devote that 15 minutes to one task. Later on tonight, as I look at my kitchen and try not to be as persnickety as I normally am, I'm looking at the kitchen behind me and I'm like, wow, we need to do a Focus 15 and clean. But you could do it with returning phone calls. You could do it with
social
reading
media,
something you don't feel like reading, social media. And at the end of 15 minutes, you have two choices. Number one, maybe you've developed the momentum and you can keep going. Or number two, you've honored your 15 minutes. And if you've done it correctly, meaning you haven't tried to do 15 multitasking minutes, but if you devoted 15 straight minutes, you're going to be surprised at how much you were able to accomplish. And then move on to the next thing.
I love that. You know, because most people, they don't think they have the time. But if you really look at it, I mean, one time I had a friend that she was like all over the map. And she's like, I just don't have time. I don't have time to send out an email. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. When realistically, I was like, write down every moment that you're doing something. And it has to be productive moments. And she was shocked at how much time were productive and how much time were filler moments.
You know, that's actually what got me to write my second Get It Together Girl workbook, which is like time-saving tips and techniques. And I had done my first book, 15 minutes, organize your home in 15 minutes a day. And I ran into this mom who said, oh, I don't have 15 minutes a day. And I think she was waiting for me to tell her, well, that's okay. And I said, well, then it's not a priority.
Yeah.
Because if it was a priority, you have 15 minutes. Whether you want to spend it on something particular is up to you. But you have that time. And so I wrote my second book kind of in response to that. You don't have 15 minutes? Well, here are some things that will get you 15 minutes. And if you don't want it, then admit that to yourself. I mean, like right now, tonight, I will spend 15 minutes cleaning this house. I'm looking at dishes that need to be put away and all sorts of stuff. Now, my best friend, she's not going to do that. She's going to, if anything, throw the shoes in the box and leave them there. You know, and that's fine for her. But when you implement the Focus 15 and you get used to doing it, you can say, I'm going to Focus 15 this book. I'm going to Focus 15 and spend 15 minutes writing. I'm going to Focus 15 and spend 15 minutes in my journal. And when you do that, you get more accomplished when you focus as opposed to when you do 8 million things at once.
Right.
My old boss was talking on the phone about this terrible woman that ran the HOA. While she's on the phone, she's also emailing another HOA member. And she's talking about how terrible this woman is and actually accidentally puts her name in the to field. So she hears from my boss about, oh, she's so terrible, she's so this, so that. Well, now the woman has it. So congratulations. That's what happens when you try to do too many things at once.
Yeah.
So you get more done when you focus and then move on.
Well, and I think it's the perfection thing too, and that's what I love about the way you say it. It's not about being perfect. It's about just getting something done, right? And I've got, my husband does websites. We do email systems so people could do their email campaigns. And we had a lady who bought the email system. And this was about 2.5, 3 years ago now. And she still has not sent out a single email because she's trying to perfect her email. It's not right yet. And I'm like, that's 2.5, 3 years of people that you could have helped, that they could have seen what you've got going on. And she's just so worried about what people are going to think when she sends the email out.
Well, perfectionism is really just, dare I say the other P word, it's procrastination. A lot of times when you're trying to be perfect, it's an excuse for you not to take action. Well, it's not right yet. It's never going to be right. I'm a writer. You come to North Carolina, you get cut off by someone that has a license plate that says writer girl. That's me. And as a writer, you learn very early on in the process that all writing is rewriting. If you were to ask Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, even Shakespeare, to look at their work, to read their work, they're going to read it and say, I should have changed this sentence. I should have expounded on that character. Why didn't I get rid of this character? Because at a certain point, you have to just stop.
Right.
Or else you'll never finish. You have to stop and go forward.
Yeah.
Because perfection doesn't exist.
When I'm kind of the opposite end where, sometimes I send things out a little too fast. And early on, it bothered me because people would email me back, oh, you got the wrong there and there. And, this didn't make sense. The grammar wasn't right or whatever. And then one day it just it came through this realization. I sent out an email and I had a writer go through it, edit it, make it beautiful. And I sent it out. I was so happy. I'm like, no one's going to say anything about it this time. And would you know, I misspelled the subject line because that was the one thing I was responsible for. But you know what? People still bought my program. When people are still getting the information.
Exactly.
And they're still wanting to be a part of it. And I realize that the people that have the problems with me saying there and there, they can always unsubscribe.
Yeah, and they're always going to be finding problems. There's some people who their life's existence is looking at other people and finding fault. You know, I had a friend of mine in my book, well, if I were you, I wouldn't have done this, that, and the other, and you didn't get this right, or, you know, how are you going to help people if you can't even do this? And I'm like, but you know what? I'm doing something.
Right.
And doing something is almost always better than doing nothing. Except if you're doing something crazy. You know, it's always better to do something. And, I tell a story that I'm from Cleveland, and I was really tired of being cold. Really tired of being cold. So I packed up my car and I moved to Phoenix. I had never been to Phoenix. I didn't know anybody in Phoenix. I just knew it wasn't cold in Phoenix.
Right.
So I went there and I stayed 9 months and I didn't really like it. Nothing against Phoenix, but I couldn't find the right work. I wasn't making any money, and, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And so my dad said, well, consider moving back home. And I thought about it, and I agreed to move back home. And when I got home, my aunt had a nice little party for me, and her husband, my uncle, took me outside and explained to me that people were disappointed in me.
Aww.
Because they wanted me, they're like, you're the one that's supposed to do something, you're supposed to make something of yourself, and here you are coming back from Phoenix after just 9 months. And I asked him, I said, well, how long would I have to stay out there for you to be happy? How long would I have had to stay to make you happy? I said, the way I look at it, I jumped in a car, moved across the country, 2 time zones away from anybody I knew or was related to. I found work. I found a place. I made friends. I didn't like it, and I moved back. But I now know I have a confidence in myself that I didn't have before I did that.
Right.
I know that I can be okay somewhere else. And to me, that's worth it. I'm not in this to try to do something for you. This is my life. And if I wake up hungry, you can feel bad, but only one person has that stomach that's growling.
Exactly. And this is, I think,
of
the
course,
hardest.
If you look at me now, you see I haven't missed any dang meals. But that's...
Yeah, we all have our issues, but I think that is the hardest part, and especially for women, that we want to please everyone. We want our families to be proud of us and our friends, and they're the hardest people to make happy. Because they're always worried about what we're doing. And I know with my daughter, she moved to Oregon from Texas and decided to go to college, all 2,200 miles away. And my whole family freaked out. They're like, I can't believe you're letting her go. I can't believe you're letting her go to school so far away. What happened? What if something happens? I'm like, this is her decision. And I'm very proud of her for trying something that I know is going to be difficult. And people want to always discourage people from trying something new because it's their fears, not usually the person that's in it.
And they disguise it by saying things like, oh, I'm just trying to be realistic.
Oh, yeah.
And, being realistic. And I guess it's hard for me personally because I'm the dreamer and the doer in my family. And so I'm the one that's going to take chances and not just sit there and wag my finger at somebody. I'm the one that's going to, that my cousins come to when they say, well, Karyn, I have this on my heart. I want to do this. And I sit down and say, well, how can we do it? How can we make that happen? It's not about doing what somebody else wants you to do. It's not about living how someone else wants you to live. And I realized that when I had my first job in media, I'm living out in Iowa. I stayed for 1 solid year. Absolutely loved my job. Did not make my one friend.
Aww.
Literally was in isolation.
Oh, we lost you. Are you there? Well, Karyn, I know that you've got amazing information. If you come back online, let us know. I can't hear you now, which is a problem that we have with, anything that's online. We all run into technical difficulties, especially with our internet, and, it's just kind of the reality of everything. So if you come back on, let me know. I know she was going to give an incredible offer, and